Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Is Your Marketing DesignSmart? Today we're going to talk about using the right channels. Now the right channels is not necessarily the most popular ones. Every day as marketeers we're bombarded with the channels that we should be communicating on. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. But it's not always the case that being on the most popular, the most talked about channels is absolutely right. For us, we recommend it's all about being distinct, really matching the channels to your audience. Now let me give you an example of that. We, with a client in the pharmaceutical industry, researched and really looked into their audience. Their audience were GPs. And for GPs, we identified that actually email marketing, social media platforms, that's not where they were. For them, direct mail still worked. So rather than thinking and assuming, right, the right channel is going to be email marketing with a social media campaign, we actually put together a bespoke, personalized direct mail campaign. They received something in the post. It invited them to a series of events that our client was putting on throughout the UK. That worked because it thought about the audience type and identified where they were, what channels worked for them, rather than making an assumption, rather than matching to the popular channels. So you know your audience, you work about clear communication of the story you want to tell, then you think about the channels that work for them. So how do you identify the right channels? Well, really, it starts with going back to the work you've already done on audience personas. If you've done good work on that, and you've clearly identified where your audience is, what motivates and interests them, then it should be clear what channels to go on. That example I gave about the GPs, because we'd looked into the audience type, we understood what material they read, what platforms they weren't on, it was then clear that traditional print media was the right way to go for them. So look at your audience first, rather than looking at the channels that are popular. That's the right way to identify the right channels for your audience. Also, one top tip about content. Now, people will tell you that the best practice is to adapt and make bespoke content for every single communication channel that you work across. We know from experience that's a challenge. There's budget and time constraints. So the best thing to do is to create really high quality key content pieces. That can be opinion pieces, that can be about knowledge and sharing advice, and then adapt that across multiple channels. Always think about your audience, identify key content, and then work it across the channels that matter. If you need to adapt that, do so, but understand that there is always constraints on how you do that. Okay, so today we've talked about identifying the right channels that are mapped to your audience. In the next episode, I'll be talking about customer journeys. And this is where we bring all the work into one place. Audience, clear storytelling, right channels, all mapped into a customer journey. We find this is a bit of a secret sauce, to be honest. If you produce something like a customer journey, it makes the whole team really empowered. It's a real tangible way to understand how to communicate, but that's in the next episode. Bye for now.